of YouTube? It's WiiLord95 here, and today I'm going to be analyzing Shane's new Grumble Volcano time. It is third worldwide, I believe, and we are also going to be analyzing Luke's Toad's Factory world record after this. Now, I said I wasn't going to be doing glitch runs, but just turn the volume down. But I decided I would make an exception for this one, and maybe more in the future depending on how people like this. But the main reason I wanted to look at this run specifically is because it uses the Quacker. Now, for those of you who don't know, Grumble Volcano has been pretty much dominated by the Bit Bike since 2008, and there haven't been too many like character vehicle strat changes. It's pretty, I mean, the strategies have definitely evolved quite a bit, but the fact that Shane uses the Quacker is something that hasn't really been explored too much. Now, a brief history on the Quacker being used in Grumble Volcano, as I'll just replay this run over and over again, I guess. The Quacker has pretty much always been used for shroomless times, so people have been using it, but it wasn't until more recently when Justin set a 19.8 on Grumble Volcano using the Quacker in about a week, where people started seriously looking at this. Now, I believe Justin said he did it just for fun. He wanted to use a different vehicle. But it seems that at a high level, the Quacker seems to be able to compete with the Bit Bike, which is pretty exciting because, first of all, Quacker is inside drift, which is much better than outside drift because it's just much more cooperative, and it's just something new to try, and it looks like it's a lot less inconsistent. Now that the history is over, yeah, so Shane is a longtime subscriber of mine, so I think it's pretty cool to see him doing very well on this category. And yeah, so here we go. He starts by doing, or before the race even starts on Grumble Volcano, what you do is, I actually don't know if this technique has a name, but really what you do is you wheelie, and before the bike lands, you hit left, and then you hit right really quickly. At least that's how I do it. And you can kind of move your bike over to get a better angle for the rock. And then he doesn't drift here, he just holds to the side and uses his mushroom about here. Now, something you should know about this little slope is you need to approach it at a pretty specific angle in order to make it up into the rock. I did make a Grumble Volcano glitch tutorial a long time ago using my method at the time, which is pretty consistent. Now, as you can see, he does go over the diamond, which is kind of what you want to aim for, and then he starts holding to the right. Now, this is because you want to not get stuck on the rock. And you can see he hits the rock, and he gets around by the time his boost runs out. Now, something interesting that I've been wondering about is whether or not it would be worth it to shroom here. Now, with the Bit Bike, before the new strategy, the new world record strategy was implemented, that saves a ton of time. The world record runs used to use a mushroom right here on lap 1, and they'd kind of crash into the wall, but it was still faster, and I believe King Alex came up with that strategy, since King Alex has pretty much been the sole person who has pushed the meta for Bit Bike, despite Miyake having the world record for a majority of the time. Anyway, there's a lot of cool history on this track. I'll try not to get too sucked into it, but to get to the checkpoint, you have to get to the top of this hill, and it looks like he went a little bit further than he needed to. So I believe if you land like right about here, then you should be okay, but not too bad. Pretty decent lap 1, but still definitely improvable. Now, this is where Quacker has kind of taken a leap in the meta recently. Taken a leap, because, alright, never mind, that's just a bad joke, because you hop here and you leap into the air. Anyway, since the Quacker has inside drift, you can hop at the top of this hill and get the right angle to hit the checkpoint, which is kind of right over here at the top of this little bump. So this one little area is where Quacker gains most of the time on BitBike, because BitBike does a lot better in the first half. Anyway, he hops and he does a drift, and then he does a spin drift. Now, if you don't know what a spin drift is, I made a video about different types of drifting, everything you need to know about drifting, and I covered spin drifting in the advanced version, so if you are curious, be sure to give that a look. It's on my channel. And he hits the checkpoint. So, like I said, before he went kind of further than he needed to. Went like up over the top of this bump, when really you just need to hit the you just need to kind of hit the side. And he holds this drift around the corner because it allows him to accelerate faster, because you actually accelerate faster in Mario Kart Wii when you drift. Now, he slows down really quickly because if you hold down the drift, you're either going to hit the wall or you just can't get the right angle to get around the turn. He hops again here. This time, it doesn't land so cleanly. Instead, he hits the top of the rock, which obviously loses him a little bit of time because he is unable to take the proper line. I'm sure he was kind of surprised by that, but recovers pretty nicely, and lap 3 is actually pretty clean. Now, if you watch Shane's previous runs, you'll notice that his exits at the very end have been kind of sloppy, but he seems to have fixed that issue, and it looks like he's also doing something that I suggested. I don't know if it's because I suggested it or not, but I noticed that when King Alex does this last shroom spot, he uses his mushroom actually quite early, instead of like right before you land, which is how most people do it, and I'm pretty sure that saves time. So yeah, so he mushrooms early and he holds onto his drift a little bit longer, which gives him a straighter angle as opposed to going diagonally, which is more distance to the finish line, because the finish line does actually extend all the way up here, which is why you only need to go to the top of that hill to trigger the lap count. And yeah, so he finishes with a time of 13.365, which is 3rd worldwide behind the 2 Grumble Volcano legends, King Alex and Niyake. And yeah, so pretty solid run overall. Again, I'm not sure if he wants to try and use a shroom there. The splits with Quacker using the old entry are pretty close to those of the BitBike. And a world record is theoretically possible with Quacker. So we'll see what Shane has in store with us. Now, aside from Shane, notable players on Grumble Volcano with the Quacker also include Justin. Like I said before, he was the first to kind of show Quacker's potential on this track with his 19.8. And then more recently, Shane with his 3rd worldwide time. I believe EJB, Australian player, got a 19.4 with the Quacker very recently. And I don't know if there's a video for that yet. At the time that I'm recording this, there is not a video for that. And then Ross, a British player, has also entered the worldwide top 10 with a 19.9 using the Quacker. And Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, Chaos's, or was it Chaos's? No, in Vizzo's Grumble Volcano time, the last 2009 worldwide top 10 has been knocked off. So all the times in the worldwide top 10 now are either 2010 or later, which is pretty cool. Oh, and one more thing before we start this next analysis of Luke's Toad's Factory world record. Shane, I'm calling you out. It's 2019, and you're amazing, and you're a great player, but you gotta crop out the black bars. Just take the 3 minutes to crop them out. It's not a big deal, and especially if you're adding custom music and you're editing already, just crop out the black bars. Or whoever recorded your run. I'm not sure if it was you now that I think about it, but just crop them out. It doesn't take that long. Anyway. Next we have Luke's Toad's Factory world record with a time of 1 minute and 49.326 seconds. Now this is much lower than I ever thought this category would go. At the time I thought Chaos's 151.8 was pretty close to the limit, but how wrong was I? So, over the years, Toad's Factory has had a lot of strategy changes on nearly every single turn, and like every 3 seconds there's a new strategy, compared to at least when I started playing seriously and following the TT community, like way back. And something interesting about this world record is it was set on April 1st, or right before it, which is why the title of the YouTube video on CTGP Records says Yaviran, who was a Spanish player back in 2008 who held a ton of world records. I don't remember exactly how many, but yeah, he was a multi-world record holder and way ahead of his time. So I believe it was ZR who put the title as an April Fool's joke. So anyway, I thought that was pretty funny. But yeah, this run is actually it's pretty solid. Sure, it's improvable, but it's definitely one of the strongest world records. Most of Luke's runs are pretty optimized, just because he's so good at soft drifting. But yeah, we're nearing the end of the run. Just look at the splits really quickly. So we got 36.1, which is, well, high point 1, which is a pretty good lap. 36.4, which is a low point 4, is really good on this track. And point 7 is not too bad. Or looking at it from like a best known splits point of view. So the run starts, and just like with Grumble Volcano, he does this thing where he shimmies to the side. Again, I don't know if there's a term for that. If you know, please let me know, because I'd like to know. Now, the reason why he uses these 2 mushrooms here is because it's faster to try and beat the Stomper. Now, this is actually, it's a pretty tight window, or at least tighter than you would think. If you're not at a world record level, I would not recommend that you use the strategy, because it's only beneficial at a world record level. I believe the strat was found by Walter, or BlackieBoy39. So, just a little bit of Toad's Factory history, and yeah, I know I am going to go back and watch that again. So I noticed that he wheelie turns very slightly to the right here. You can kind of see it, but I don't know exactly why. I don't really think it makes that much of a difference. But he does not do a delay drift. And wow, look at how close he gets to this wall. Anyway, really good first turn. And let's see how he does in between the mushroom. Or wait, no, that's after the first mushroom. Here's in between. So it looks like he probably could have waited another couple frames, but that's not really something that you can do humanly. Yeah, so it was found more recently that actually if you wheelie turn a little bit on the conveyor belt, it does not lose time, and it doesn't. Yeah, it looks like he wheelie turns a little bit here, because the fast part of the conveyor belt actually extends to this little yellow piece on the little yellow strip on the side. Now, the whole wheelie turning thing, as long as your speed doesn't go below 92, I believe that it doesn't lose any time, so that's pretty neat. So you'll notice that he hops like really early here, and that's because for some reason, I don't remember why, but you retain your speed, your increased speed from the conveyor belt if you hop right at the edge. So he hasn't touched the ground yet, and now he lands. Now he's back at normal speed. And I believe there is a strategy that is being implemented in, well, it will be implemented in whatever the newer tool-assisted speedrun is here, where you like hop a couple more times, and I'm not entirely sure how that works, or how frame perfect it has to be. But anyway, back onto the world record. He's holding left here, just, you know, so that way he doesn't hit the wall, and then pretty clean turn, not too bad. Now you'll notice that he does a down trick here. No, I don't remember which trick is fastest. I know side trick is tied with either up or down trick for the fastest, but you know, it doesn't really matter that much in a world record. And what he does is he goes to the right. So after he tricks, he holds to the right and he nosedives, and this is so that way you decrease your airtime, since airtime is slower in Mario Kart Wii, and he lands and immediately wheelies. Now wheelie turning here is okay because he's in a boost, and when you're in a boost, wheelie turning does not lose time. And also when you're in the air. Gets a pretty good angle going through here. Let's see, what is this chain? Probably a full chain. Yeah, this is a luck wheelie. So he wheelied the frame after the previous wheelie ended, so he got the maximum time save out of that. Now you'll notice that he wheelie turns here in the air, and wheelie turning in the air does not lose time, as I mentioned before. And this is to give him an angle that goes more to the right, so that way he can take a tighter line on the next turn. Now, this is kind of like the ideal spot when entering this turn. It's at least where I like to try to be, because it's easier. And he soft drifts around here and does a slip drift. Again, if you want to look at exactly what that means, if you don't know, I made a video about that. Everything you need to know about drifting advanced. It's on my channel, and yeah, that's a pretty good line. All right. Now he does a delayed drift going on to the conveyor belt, and he does a slip drift. Now this is something that World Record Runs started implementing around, I want to say 1 minute 49.9, but I could be wrong. It saves a very, very small amount of time. And the tool assisted speedrun actually does 2 slip drifts, but you have to do like this other drift strat in order for that to work. Anyway, the slip drift here is actually pretty easy, so pretty useful time save if you're able to pull it off. Now, like I said before, how you retain your speed, or like you have a higher speed when you're on the conveyor belt, it is faster to wait until you're at the edge of the conveyor belt, or you're just off the edge and then release your mini turbo. And it looks like he releases it like a couple frames early, but again, this is not a tool-assisted speedrun, not really too much you can do about that. This turn here, nothing really much to say, he takes a good line. Now for the shroomless shortcut, there's a couple different approaches. For this one, he's at the leftmost part of this dark pink triangle, so he will want to come over to the right a little bit. Yes, he does. Now for the shroomless shortcut, it's pretty easy, actually, once you get the hang of it, but it does take some practice. and I'll kind of walk you through how it works. So what you want to do, besides tricking off the first ramp, is you want to do a hard drift to the right. So that means you're about as far to the right as you can go. Then once you get just about to the ramp, you want to hold left, like super far left. Then you want to trick, and you want to hold right. Now if you do a side trick, for some reason side tricks in this game don't allow you to have the same aerial mobility as an up trick or a down trick, so you just kind of fall into the lake if you get a side trick. It's very rare, unless you get like a high trick, which is slower. It's not really realistic to make it with a side trick. And you'll notice he gets a down trick here, so it's all right. And he nosedives here because he knows that he will land on, well, he'll land on the land, you know, right? Now he avoids wheelie turning until after he gets past this little yellow thing with the tractor, because the way edges work in this game, if they're round, like on Luigi Circuit or Mario Circuit, no glitch, or I guess glitch too. Mario Circuit is you if you touch this a little bit, you kind of go. There's a chance that you can go flying up, depending on what very specific angle you have. So he waits to wheelie turn until after he's past it. Hits both boost panels and does the low jump. Now for the low jump, you want to hop pretty early, and it looks like he gets a pretty good one here. And he drifts because that's faster. Actually, this is a little bit higher than it this probably could have been a little bit lower. But nonetheless, pretty solid lap. Again, he wheelie turns to fix his angle, but he's in the boost, so he doesn't lose any time. Chains, and immediately goes into the first drift. Getting a text. Okay, anyway. Yeah, I have that as a text zone. Pretty solid turn. Looks like he missed the conveyor a little bit. Yeah, so this could have been very slightly better, but pretty good turn. Again, the wheelie turn does not lose any time. Full chain, at least that's what it looks like. Same strategy as the previous lap with the hop. Now for this one, this angle is very specific because just because of the way the boxes are moving, but he manages to get through, and he uses his second mushroom, or he uses his final mushroom here. Now, you don't want to have to go around the stompers just because that loses time. So at a world record pace, if you use the mushroom here lap 2, then you don't have to avoid the stompers lap 3, and also you don't have to worry about getting the frame perfect luck wheelie because you use your mushroom. So yeah, pretty similar to lap 1, so I won't go super in depth. Looks like the conveyor was not super clean, but it works. Yeah, pretty solid driving. He gets a similar angle to lap 1, just because of how consistent his driving is. And he does the tilt right thing again. Now, I believe the boost panels are on right, they're right and right, so... Oh, no, he's too fast for that. In some runs, you can hit the right boost panel, the first right boost panel. Getting another text. Let me just silence my phone really quickly. Sorry about that. We're a professional here. He does a spin drift to get on the boost panel, which is pretty effective. Oh, actually, something that I didn't notice before, he actually drifts when he lands. Not a little cool thing. You'll notice he does like a very slight drift just to get a better angle. And again, here's the drift. You really want to avoid this yellow thing at all costs, because it will just kill your run. And pretty similar low jump to lap 1. Again, could have been a little bit lower, but a 0.4, low 0.4 is a pretty good lap. Alright, sorry about the jump cut, I had to take care of something real quick. He gets a pretty good angle going into the conveyor belt. Actually, this is about as perfect as it gets. He's right on the edge. And wheelie turns again to correct his angle. Again, very optimized, pretty consistent lap. Is that another luck wheelie? Let's see. Yep, looks like it. I'm not the best at telling the difference between chains, but I'm pretty sure I know a luck wheelie when I see it. Now here, he knows that at this angle he will hit the little metal wall, so he corrects that in the air, which does not lose any time. And whoa! I actually didn't realize how good of a line this was. Look at this. That's so close to the... Look at that! How did he not hit the wall here? Look. How? Alright, well, I know what that's gonna be the thumbnail. But, wow. That's the best turn of the run, easily. And... oh yeah, I guess I should mention that he takes the left conveyor belt because it's the one that goes in the correct direction. That wasn't obvious enough. Now this is like the only turn where he doesn't take like a ridiculously tight line. And that's also a pretty tight line. So you know, he's just got this he's got this track figured out. This is actually kind of a high shortcut. Not the best shortcut. But again, you want to go for the wide boost panel just because it's there, you know. And he gets a lower low jump lap 3. Very slightly, which is good because lap 3 you don't have that long straight, so you just want to land as soon as possible. And something that annoys me on Toad's Factory that like everybody does, except for a very select few players, is this angle, not good. You're not very parallel. If you want to be, or not parallel, you want to be as perpendicular to the finish line as possible because you'll finish faster. And he probably could have finished like a frame earlier, which is, I mean, it's as simple as just holding right for just a tiny bit longer, and it's really, really easy. I just don't know why. And a lot of players do this on all tracks where they get like really, really bad angles after the last turn, and it's just something that bugs me. Because if you can save easy time, you might as well save easy time, you know? But yeah, pretty solid run. Like I said, one of the more optimized world records. I can see this maybe going down to a 0.1 with a nearly perfect run, but that's not going to happen anytime soon unless there's like a new strategy. Anyway, if you managed to sit through this whole video, I commend you. These uncut videos are, you know, they're fun because I don't have to go through and cut everything up, but yeah, they do end up being longer, but if you learned something from this run analysis, then it was worth it, so it's good. If you enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you are new. Support is always appreciated. If you'd like to check out last month's run analysis, I will put a link in the description. I'm also going to put a link to CTGP Records because that's where I got this video from, and I'll put a link to Shane's channel as well because that's where I got the other video from. And yeah, without further ado, if you enjoyed, you know, have a good day. That outro was so bad.